Hi, I'm Oskar from Wani, and we're sitting with Dagon from INQUISITIon. So, how are you doing? Go ahead.
Good, very good. Very good.
I know you're European too, with Abbath, Behemoth, and Entombed A.D.
Right.
What's been the criticism about?
We're about a quarter way through the tour, and so far, up until tonight, I have no complaints. From a fan perspective, I think everybody's very enthused because it starts very early. We go on very early, and usually I was expecting maybe a quarter or a half of the venue to be full, and it's been filling up pretty much every night so far. So people are real motivated to see the whole package, and that motivates us a lot. So even if we get very few people in the beginning, we'll still be very happy to give everyone the most we have. But it's very nice to look out there at an early time and see so many people. And the logistics, the whole operations of everything, very good. The three other bands, I mean, I can't tell you guys enough how respectful everybody is. And of course, professional. I don't need to say it, but everyone's just very down to earth people. And when it's times to hit the stage, everyone transforms into something else. So it's no complaints.
Very fun. So you've toured in the US and Europe and support to obscure person in the universe. How do fans respond to it live? There exists any difference between US and Europe people?
That's always a difficult question for me to answer when I'm asked that, because metal in general has become such a worldwide culture in itself that there's not really big differences like there used to be. It's a real simple algorithm. I mean, everywhere in the world, people come to the show, they watch, they embrace it. There used to be bigger differences between continents, but it's a pretty streamlined thing now. But of course, I would say in Europe, of course, you get more people at the shows. You have better venues. We have just as good venues, but extreme metal like this hit bigger venues in Europe. The organization, the logistics, the people that work at the clubs, I think they're better. But when it comes to fan interaction and everything, the US and Europe is getting a lot closer. But here I would say the metal scene is much more metal in itself. In the US, we have a bigger, kind of a melting pot of genres and everything. You have people from a lot of different styles that come to watch black metal now in the States, but it's still kind of like the capital here in Europe. So,
okay, so we know you're working on a new album. What's the update right now?
So I guess the question is, where are we at? What's the status of the album? That's exciting to answer because about 3-4 days ago, the album was mastered. It was completed. So it's recorded, it's mixed, it's mastered. And this isn't an official answer, but I believe sometime in May
It will be released.
That's the target. Correct. Yeah.
How was the songwriting process this time? What directions you explored?
I did. I explored a lot, and I can tell you probably what most people want to know. Fans and non-fans seem to contradict themselves when it comes to Inquisition, because we can put out another album, and you have some people that say it's the same album every time, and that same person might say, I don't like the last one, it's different. So you're saying it's different, but we do the same thing every album. So The next album will be same, but not same. You'll immediately know it's Inquisition, but it's probably the darkest, heavy, everything on the menu. It's the most dynamic album when it comes to really in a way it's not the most dynamic. We're dynamic every album. A lot of slow, a lot of fast. But it's something I can't describe. I think people are going to be very happy. And some people are going to be very surprised. It's a very violent album. Probably our darkest album.
So you're talking about the instrumental part. On the previous album, you shift from a medieval Satanism and occult-related themes to larger focus, Astrophysics and conception of the cosmos. Are you going to continue this on your album?
This next album is a lot more about, I'll give you the short explanation. Everything from the pre-existence of the universe, when complete darkness was what I would call the Satan itself, the force. So the album kind of begins from the force of the Satan pre-universe existence to life that was seeding on Earth. And it uses a lot of influence, again, from the Zachariah Sitchin thing, the Anunnakis coming here. But I use a lot of metaphors outside of that. It's not really a Sumerian mythology-based album. But I brought a lot more of the old school element of Satanism and black metal. And I try to compare it. We're kind of blended into what the Sumerians were telling us. But everything's connected. Because if you look at, for example, the Abrahamic religions, everything from Judaism to Christianity to even Islam. And then you also go over to, say, some philosophies like Buddhism, but mostly the Abrahamic religions that were around the area of Mesopotamia. They have too many similarities that almost seem taken from the Sumerians themselves. They all talk about the flood. They all talk about angels coming down from the heavens, or messiahs coming here. But there's a parallel between each religion. And what that tells me is maybe somebody saw something, maybe somebody knew something, and they all basically essentially talk about Satan itself, the force. And we've lost that a little bit in black metal, and I really want to emphasize that topic, what the force of Satan is, and what it was behind all those mythologies 5,000 years ago. Because a lot of the ancient people talked about the force of Satan. There was the gods, there was the devils and the demons, but there was a force greater than that. And I try to point that out. That was the force, the darkness and the force before the universe was something so intense. It must have been godly. It was because it was the flame that sparked the everything. That's what science tells us, and that's what ancient writings tell us. So it's a little of everything, but it's really, really about the beginning of the universe and who's been part of that, and what force has been behind it.
Very interesting. So, interesting question would be, are you inspired by any literature or philosophies that the lyrics are written? There are channels this inspiration of subject matter of the lyrics.
I don't have a specific writer. When it comes to asking questions, as egotistical as it sounds, when it comes to, this could almost be a philosophy itself. Everybody has the ability to philosophize, everybody. And I think sometimes it might be a be careful how I say this, but it might be, so I don't discredit great writers, is why I say I should be careful, but so I'm not misunderstood. But I think before reading other books, sometimes we, the people who ask the question, we should also try and find the answer within our own mind. It's good to be influenced. It's good to draw inspiration from others. It's great to read the ancient Greeks' writings and the Egyptians and the Sumerians. But you know, think about it. Those were people who questioned things themselves. And today we rely on technology to answer the questions. I don't know something, I'll look it up on the internet. I don't know what I want to read, but I'll just start grabbing books and reading before I write. And so I try to find the topics myself within my own mind. Of course, I draw inspiration from other writers, but on a more superficial level. I really like the structure and the writings. I really do, as cliche as it sounds, I really love Edgar Allan Poe's style of writing. A lot of people think I go for Lovecraft and all this, and he wrote great stuff, beautiful style, but I like the wordplay that Poe had, and I draw from ancient writings a lot. I just love how the Sumerians wrote, the Egyptians, the translations that we have today. I really like the atmospheric style of writing. You know, it's very cryptic, but it's not complex. You know? I really like symbolic styles of writing, something not too complicating either. There's just a handful of writers. I'll read a little bit of Lovecraft, some Poe, and immediately close it and get back to my writing. But yeah, I really like more of the ancient stuff that was written, 3,000-4,000 years ago. That's what I like the most.